Good morning, YouTube. Today we're going to talk about the current status of the Ferrari market in Q2 of 2026.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, and this is our dealership, NG Supercars. And we have done this once already. We thought we'd make it a quarterly update where we're going to tell you what's the status of the current Ferrari market, how are things going, what cars are going up in value, what cars are coming down. So let's jump right into it. After you go, do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and check out our website, normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services, and ngsupercars.com, our dealership website. We appreciate your guys' support, so let's jump into it. All right, YouTube, it is May of 2026. So the last time we did this was February of 2026, and a lot of you said that you really enjoyed this and thought we should do this regularly, so I think we're gonna do it about once a quarter. Anyway, what is the status of the Ferrari market? Well, I didn't think it would change this quickly, but it has. This last quarter, it's gone nuts. The values of some of these cars have absolutely skyrocketed. So I believe we discussed some of the things that happened that started this whole kind of chain reaction value change in the Ferrari market. But going back to early this year, we had the Bachmann collection sold at some crazy numbers. Now, that was on the tail of some particular specialty cars, 458 Speciale, 48 Pista, 360 Challenge Stradale, and the 430 Scuderia. Basically, people cornered the entire market for those and then drove the prices up on that. And the secondary effect was that started pushing up some values of the normal Ferraris, right? The normal 430s, 360s, 458s, 488s, and so on. Well, after the Bachmann collection, those cars went just nuts. I mean, crazy valuations. We're seeing 458 Speciales are like not the Apertas, the regular coupes are often exceeding $1 million. In fact, almost all of them are over $1 million now. So it's become hard to find 458 Speciales under $1 million. The 458 Speciale Apertas are like 1.4, 1.5. What? Like, this is insane. Well, at the same time that those are up, all of those specialty cars are just insane numbers. 360 Challenge Stradales, 6+ months ago, maybe even a year ago, 350-ish, occasionally 400,000. We actually almost bought one like a year ago for like 275, and we thought it was too much. Oh man. Now those things are $600,000, $700,000, $800,000+. Pistas haven't gone up quite as much as those. The Scuds, yeah, man. If I would have not sold my Scud, I would have a lot more money right now. 430 Scuderia is about 6 months, a year ago. 350, 400,000 for really nice examples. Occasionally, like 300,000 flat. Rare examples might be in the upper 4s, low 5s. The 16Ms were in the 450 to 550 range already. Well, now we're seeing those cross $1 million. Regular Scuds we're seeing in the 7s and 8s. And 6, 7s, and 8s, I'm going to say, is kind of like the range for those now. Absolutely incredible. At the moment, they're trying to do the same thing with the TDFs. F12 TDFs kind of hovered around like 1 to 1.4 million for a long time, forever. So those things now 2 million. It's just nuts. So basically, the quick version of this story, I know too late, is all the specialty Ferraris that are desirable are just going through the roof. Absolutely crazy numbers. So what does that mean for the regular Ferrari market? All right, so yeah, let's go through those models and then we'll talk about some of the others. So 360s, 430s, 458s, 488s. Yeah, 360s are up a lot. So they used to be in the 60 to 90 range for nice coupes. And now we're seeing them in the 90s to 110s, 120s. Obviously more for manuals. The converted cars are generally appreciating by about a 1-to-1 ratio of the cost of a conversion. So if you buy a car that's worth 90. Convert it, it's probably worth about 110, 115, maybe 120. So you're getting about a 1-to-1 return. So that's actually increased because for the last year or so, the 360s were about a 0.8 to 1 return or so, because if you bought a car, converted it, you didn't quite increase the value of the car as much as the cost of the conversion on the 360s. For the 430s, they are up a lot. So they are in the 150s to 175s for good examples. Occasionally you'll see them in the 140s, rarely in the 130s now. And it's like slim pickings to get below that. Like 120s you'll see them, but they might have like sketchy history or accidents or weird something, I don't know, ridiculous miles, bad condition, whatever. So obviously condition and miles matter a lot on all of these, but in the current market, yeah, it's just everything's up. But the premiums for the low mile cars are just insane. So if you have a low mile 430 and you want to cash in, now's a pretty reasonable time to do that. You will be pleased. The manual cars, the regular OE manual cars, are in the upper 2s and 3s, occasionally 4s now. Insane. We've seen just recently, there's a BAT transaction of a BAT transaction we saw recently for a EAG converted 430 that had reasonable miles. It wasn't even that low miles. It went for like 205. And then another converted car went for like 195 with higher miles. Not high, but higher. Man, the converted 430s are actually, right now, in our opinion, getting a more than 1-to-1 return on money for a conversion. So if you spend 23 to 30,000, it's like we charge 23,000 plus tax and shipping, blah blah blah, for a conversion. If you spend that, your car goes up by more than $23,000. So it's absolutely worth it to do that in the current market. If you've been thinking about a conversion, reach out to us. Send us an email, sales@ngsupercars.com, because it's absolutely worth it. And already we have a long queue. So if you want to get your car converted sometime this year, reach out to us very soon. But anyway, yeah, they're in the 150s to 175s with F1 transmissions. Manual transmissions that are converted are in the upper 180s to 200s for clean examples. Yeah, it's huge increase in value in the last few months. And not only that, the scarcity of supply is awful. Like, you can't find good examples. You can't find really good specs. You know, we used to always tell people, oh, if you want red tan, we'll be able to find it. And right now we're like, you can't find the red tan. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the red tan coupe is now like the hard spec to find because everyone wants it. If you want like if you want a silver with that weird blue convertible 360, no problem. There's like 10 of them on the market. But if you want a red, black, or red tan 360 coupe, good luck. Same thing with the 430s. Like, it's amazing. There's just very, very limited supply available. So I believe that also is a reason why we're seeing the prices go up. Moving on to the 458s. The 458s are the biggest story in the current 458 market, in my opinion. 458s have gone up by about 50% in 6 months. So cars that were 200,000 are now over 300,000. Cars that were 250 to 275, like super low mile spiders, are now, we've even seen them in the fours. We've seen like 450,000 for like low mile spiders. Absolutely nuts. We've already helped multiple clients with cars that were well into the threes. Like, we've had them actually buy cars in the upper threes now. And a year ago, I would have been like, that's insane. There's no, like, this is a $275,000 car. And it's now $375,000. Absolutely nuts. So 458s, if you were waiting for a good deal on a 458, that ship has sailed. You ain't finding one. Sorry, bro. And if you want a high spec one with low miles, that's really clean, accident free, great history, low owners, blah, blah, blah. No. It just, if you do find one, you have to jump on it like the day you see it. Like, you've got maybe an hour to make a decision. I'm not even being sarcastic. We have sold the last few 458s that we bought in hours, not days, hours. It's crazy. Like, even we are like, how the hell is this possible? Like, it's, you know, and hilariously, like, we keep mentioning that, and some friends are like, you're charging too little. We're like, no, we're charging more than we thought we should, and it still sells for that much. So that's just the market right now. It's just going nuts. So good examples, obviously, are bringing the big dollars. Even the 48s were kind of lagging behind. They are coming back up now. So we saw 48s dipping into the 2s or even 1s, like upper 1s, 180. They've come up, but not nearly as much as the 458s. So we've had a full inversion of the 458 and 48 values. So 458s are now generally worth more than the 488s. It's just, yeah, that happened. It's crazy. So I would assume we will see the 48s pick up in value more. If you own one of those and you want to hedge your bet and hold on to it for a while, I think you'll do okay. That's a hunch. I don't have data to back this up, but I feel like they're going to increase in value because even though they're turbocharged, they are still really good cars, and they're still this kind of sweet spot in the good generation of cars where there's no extra computer crap that's going to annoy you and no batteries, right? So they're still reasonable cars to maintain, although they are more difficult and more expensive than a 458, for example. F8s, they're just kind of hanging out, holding, maybe going up a little. They're not really changing, so you're doing fine if you're holding on to those. So moving on to the V12 cars, honestly, we haven't paid too much attention to them, but we've seen the 550s are in the upper 1s and 2s now. About a year or two ago, they were like actually pretty cheap. They were way undervalued, and they shot up quite a bit. The 575s, though, have not really kept up with the 550s. Now, obviously, that's F1 transmission cars. If you have a 575 that's a manual, they're worth a lot. If you convert a 575, we are seeing those get a greater than 1-to-1 return on the conversion, which is crazy because the conversions on those is very expensive compared to conversion on a 430 or 360. We're talking in the $40,000 to $50,000 range for a conversion versus the $20,000-$30,000 range. But you still increase the value of the car by more than the conversion. So again, it's still worth your money if you want to convert one of those cars and retain value. So 275 conversions are right now a good move. Again, if you're interested in doing that, reach out to us, sales@ngsupercars.com, and we can get you in the queue. 599s are up, but not a whole lot. So again, they're kind of this weird thing where the converted 599s are finally being appreciated, I think, and increasing more than the cost of a conversion. So it is worth your money to do a conversion on those. You aren't going to lose your money. We're seeing those cars get into the 2s pretty regularly now versus a year ago. They were almost all in the 150 to 180 range. Now we're seeing like 180 to 240 range. Converted cars have been selling in the upper 2s, or I should say mid 2s. I would say on those, there's a huge premium for the HGTE package because those are pretty low production. Those are bringing the big dollars. If you have a high spec HGTE 599, especially if it's manual, big money. You can do good on those cars. Really good market for those. F12s are actually about a little bit up, not a tremendous amount. They haven't gone crazy like the 458s, which is kind of surprising because they're in that same era. And so they're still kind of like reasonably easy to maintain, not crazy shit, no batteries, like not electric, not hybrid, all that stuff. So I'm kind of surprised that they haven't gone up more than they have. They are up, to be fair, like they're up, but they're not up crazy amounts like the 458s. And I would think that they would. Honestly, I think if you were a betting person, get out your Kalishi account. That's where I'd put my money. I think the F12s are coming very soon. I think those will be skyrocketing like the 458s just because of the nature of the car being a naturally aspirated V12. Now, I guess the only reason you could argue that maybe they won't is because then you have the A12 and now you got the 12 cylinder. So, okay, they're still making the V12. It's still naturally aspirated. So it's still kind of that same basic thing is available. Yeah. So A12s, again, holding value, definitely not depreciating, and the 12 cylinders, we haven't really seen enough data to assess. We're not even really looking at those. Those are not really on our radar at this point. Now, the things that we are seeing that are taking an absolute beating, same as it was in February, the 296s and the SF90s. They're just dropping like bombs. If you own one and you don't want to completely lose your ass, if you haven't already, definitely get rid of that. When you go to the Ferrari dealership websites, there's just 296s and SF90s everywhere. Like, they'll have a dozen of them in stock. It's absolutely crazy. So that is the one area when you look at that there is actually a generous supply of those cars. Now, at some point, you got to ask, are the 296s in particular going to get so cheap that you're just going to buy it because it's a performance bargain? I think that's going to start happening because they're approaching the 200 mark. And that's an insane car for that much money. I mean, I would buy one with a warranty and rock the shit out of it, but I'm not going to buy one at 400, 500, whatever they're costing new. But when they start getting into the twos, holy cow, that is a lot of car for the money. Obviously, same thing for the SF90, but just not quite as great of production numbers, so you're not seeing it as dramatic as the 296. Now, as far as the older stuff, basically everything's just kind of marching up. One of the big winners we've seen lately is actually the 348. For the longest time, that was the bastard child that no one wanted, and their prices were in the toilet, 50 grand and crazy crap like that. We're seeing them cross past 100, even into the 150s now for like normal examples with reasonable miles and good maintenance. So those have jumped up more than double in price in the last few years. And they seem to be continuing to go up. I don't know if that's just because of nostalgia or whatever. Like, I think maybe the 355s for a while got too expensive. And I think it's a knee-jerk reaction. The 355s went into like the 300 range for manuals. Now they're coming back down. And I think they kind of bottomed out and hit the floor and are bouncing up a little bit. So we're seeing 355 values creep up. But you can get 355 F1 cars under $100,000 with clean title and good maintenance. That is just where they're at. The manual cars are worth $50,000 to $100,000 more. So there's obviously this huge gap between manual 355s and F1 355s. Obviously, all the 348s are manuals. And I think maybe that's part of it is people are like, well, it's a manual. And it's actually, if you're going to deal with the engine out, okay, you can accept that and all that stuff and all the maintenance costs. Well, you've got a bargain. Testarossas seem to be creeping up. We've seen those going up. There's just not a lot of data to go on those. The only reason I have any data on those right now is because we just sold one. So we've been watching that market to kind of pay attention to what we should be valuing that car at. And we did sell that car for more than I expected when we first started talking to Richard about selling his car, because we didn't really, at first we're like, is the market really up that much? And then we kind of looked at it and we're like, wow, we placed it at we were the cheapest in the market. And so it still was a good number for that car. What else is going on? Well, honestly, that's kind of the majority of what we're paying attention to. Yeah, I hate to say it, but the bargain seekers, you're probably too late. There aren't any crazy bargains. If you were sitting on the fence waiting I'll buy it in 6 months when the prices come down, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see these prices come down anytime soon. Obviously, market conditions could change, and I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm just, basing it on what we're seeing at the moment. But I'll tell you that we're seeing cars sell very rapidly. The prices continue to keep creeping up. Every time we sell a car, the prices go up a little bit more, a little bit more. That's just how it's going to be for the time being. So if you want to sell us a car or have us help you sell your car, we can get good money. That's one of the things we've been doing, is utilizing our YouTube channel and our social media. And I think that has given us a huge edge over some of our competitors, because we do see some of these guys selling the same cars for many months. And we literally have bought cars that we've seen other dealerships selling for months, and we sell it like that. So, and we usually sell it for more than them. So what they had it listed at. So that should tell you something. So if you want to consign your car with us, let us know. Send us an email, sales@mgsupercars.com. We offer our remote consultation service. It's pretty awesome. Your car stays safe at home. We can help you out with that. And of course, if you're looking to buy a car, we can help you with a PPI and our purchasing assistance program. So reach out to us. Let us know if you need any help with that. Buying or selling your car. We'd love to buy your car from you at a reasonable price. And hopefully we can all do really well. But that's it for this video. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. The Ferrari market's crazy right now, but we'll keep watching it and we'll keep making some cool car videos. So you're going to want to stay tuned. It's going to be sweet.